Romain Daumont spent 16 years building a successful career in consulting, including nearly a decade living and working in Japan. From the outside, his life looked accomplished and purposeful. But in 2014, the devastating loss of one of his sons changed everything. What followed was a profound spiritual awakening, one that led Roman to question not only how we heal, but how we connect, support one another, and create spaces that truly nurture well-being. Today, he's the founder of Luminara, a platform designed specifically for energy healing and spiritual care. Luminara was intentionally created to support healing, presence, trust, and connection, even across great distances. In this conversation, we'll explore Roman's remarkable personal journey, the spiritual experiences that shaped his path, and what it means to create a platform that serves not just our minds, but our hearts and souls. If you've ever wondered whether healing can transcend distance, if you found yourself searching for meaning after loss, or if you're trying to make sense of the signs guiding you towards what's next, this conversation is for you. Hi, Roman. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Robin. Hi,
Hi.
Roman.
Hi, Robin. Hi, Karen. Thank you so much
Wow.
for inviting me.
That intro, it just moved me in so many ways. I just feel like you have my complete attention because I feel so many people, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm even saying this out loud, but I feel like so many people have been through such profound loss in their lives and they reach that point where they do question literally everything. And what is the meaning of life? Why am I here? Is there a God? Why does this happen? All of the things. I would love it if we could start there and just hear a little bit about that, Roman, and what that was like for you and how you ultimately took a step forward from that point.
Oh, yes, yes, indeed. It is a tragedy. I don't think there is anything sadder than losing a child. So, when my wife and I knew that after the 4 month of pregnancy, the second child, we had a very healthy first child who was 4 years old at the time. We couldn't believe that we happened to have on the same gene a mutation that was leading one chance out of four having this genetic disease, and which is extremely rare. My wife is from Indian blood. I'm French, so totally unrelated. This can happen if you really marry your your cousin, but in our case, really, it's like tossing a coin in New York and asking you to find it, like literally in terms of
Wow.
statistics. But then again, I didn't know at the time. Now I can say it. Everything happens for a reason, but this is like 12 years afterwards. So we love this child. We gave him a chance, but he had a polycystic kidney disease that meant the amniotic fluid would be absorbed by the kidneys, and so the lungs wouldn't develop. I didn't know that really, but your lungs in the womb are filled with the amniotic fluid. You don't have amniotic fluids, you don't get lungs, you don't get lugs. Well, you know what happened next. So this little baby boy lived for 3 days and then transitioned. There's nothing more absurd in life than holding a dead child in your arms. Like literally, it's
Mhm.
absurd. Anyhow, the one thing I can tell you through my this journey is really I kind of followed the crumbs, to be honest. I just was tuned to what the signs were. But it all started with silence. Silence is this very, and it's interesting to talk about silence in a podcast,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, silence is this really, I mean, we know meditation is about silence, right? I mean, you could get guided, but still, it's really looking inwards. And obviously, when you're expecting a child, knowing that there is a very big issue, people don't know what to say. You don't know what to say. So there is this silence getting everywhere, like spreading like a
You're so
virus
right. Oh my
everywhere.
goodness.
And people feel like they want to say something, they don't know what to say. It's like, it becomes really this thick layer between you and the others is really, really tough. And then something magic happened during the funeral, believe it or not. Like the moment you expected the least, I saw the beauty of silence. Just holding space with people you love, saying nothing, and just getting a hug, getting attention. I could almost cry here. Sorry. It brings back memories. Okay. And And at that point, I felt, okay, how come we don't use silence more often and create these moments of silence to say to people that we love them? Like, we don't need to say words. And so many songs are saying, words are not enough. And I thought, all right, we are a very wordy world. Why don't we have a way to say to people, I love you, I care for you, whatever the context is, simply by touching the screen of your phone and holding it for 30 seconds in a row. Literally sharing a moment of silence. You do 30 seconds, I do 30 seconds. Back in 2014, I was in consulting, not in tech. And then 5 years later, I went into the startup world. I stopped consulting in 2017. Wanted to challenge myself in this beautiful, crazy digital world that really is defining our times. And in 2019, I was looking for a new challenge in my life. I was getting through interviews, and a friend of mine said, Roman, and she's a coach. She's like, I don't see happiness. You're doing these interviews without any desire to be hired. Don't you want to do something you really want to do, like inside? And I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. And I couldn't see anything but this crazy idea I had 5 years back. And I thought, this is it. And I kid you not, I had this epiphany. It was in December around Christmas time, December 2019, right before COVID. And I allowed myself to do this. And it was the most beautiful, most ecstatic moment where I was drawing how would the system look like. So I would touch with one finger or two fingers, and it was so beautiful. I was so happy. I felt so aligned with something that was a deep calling inside. And so that was the first step.
Wow. From the time that you went through that loss until you got to 2019, what also changed on this spiritual level? Prior to what happened in 2014, had you really considered what happens when we die, or is there something else out there, or what are we made of?
Yeah, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna have a smile for sure. I was raised in a Catholic education, mother very religious, dad not at all. Just, these Christmas Christians that only go to the church for Christmas. And so I would say I was a believer. I'm a believer, but not very much into the church. I've always prayed and I've always had an activity of praying. And this is a prayer from Saint Francis Assisi saying, please make me an instrument of peace. And I've said that many, many times, like a mantra. That was my mantra to God, like, make me
Mm.
an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Okay. And then in 2014, when our little baby Raphael was in the womb, we looked for answers and we went to see a healer at the time. And she was healing animals, not really humans, really horses for sure, dogs. And her name was Dorothy. And she said, oh, but The Divine Matrix by Greg Braden. I'd
Uh-huh.
never heard of this guy. So I read his book. Then I started reading one book, another, and I discovered, and you're going to have a smile like, okay, maybe you can be spiritual without being religious.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an aha for a lot of
That's
people.
aha, like, oh, okay. Yeah, because the book is very spiritual. And for some reason, because of my education, also living in Japan, they're very religious. Like they're either Buddhist or Shintoist, but there's always religion. And so then I started to open up to the concept of being spiritual without being religious. Now, I know the one religion that is actually growing the fastest in the world and in the US especially is the religion of no religion. This is the fastest growing religion. People would say, I'm spiritual, not religious, a lot. And that definitely was a first step into my spiritual journey on top of this experience of grief and loss.
You keep going, threw yourself into a little more work. What do you account for that shift of that moment when you were like, oh my gosh, this makes me so happy. I'm so full of energy and excitement about this idea. Talk about that moment and where that led you.
So I was so happy. I was convinced that, when something feels good in your body, that's the truth. Like there is a real truth when you feel just good. In 2021, I started full time on this new project. So I gave it a name. It's now an app called Helo, Heallo. So it's a mix between to heal and to say hello.
Oh, I
So
love that.
you,
That's
you,
awesome.
you heal with a hello. So Helo. And so it was my first personal digital project, and we released the app towards the end of 2021. I did this more like an art project, really. I didn't really feel that I'm doing this to make a living, to make
Yeah.
money. I
Yeah.
just had to do that. It's like this child gave this to me, and I know, by the way, I'm co-creating with Raphael. And in 2022, I thought, all right, this is done, this is released. And in December 22, I said to myself, all right, I want to study what science says about the power of collective meditation and remote healing. I felt there is some healing going on. I don't know what it is. That was the second step of this journey.
Had you experienced energy healing prior to this?
Never before.
Never.
I had a
Wow.
friend who was a Reiki master that I've met in Japan. So I knew about energy healing, but I had never tried it for myself. And then
Interesting.
something crazy happened.
Okay, tell us.
So what happened is that I set this intention, I lived it. So this is basically thanks to Raphael again. The whole thing is thanks to him transitioning, me experiencing silence, creating this app. It took a long time, but I just followed the
Yes.
crumbs. And here we are, 2nd of Jan 2023. I'm in Paris, and a friend of mine from Romania is calling me saying, Roman, we have to meet. I'm with my fiance in Paris. I want you to meet her. I'll never forget, 2023 was a Monday. And so I go and we meet, and he's so excited. And he said, I bought the rings. He went to the Champs-Élysées at Cartier, bought the rings, like crazy in love. And then I hear her saying, well, we're still in negotiation. So I'm like,
Oh,
uh-huh.
she was saying that, or he?
She was saying
Oh,
that.
she was saying it.
He
Okay.
was excited. He had proposed. So he was like, oh, we're gonna get married. So she kind of probably took the ring and said yes, but like she still said right in front of him, we're still in negotiation. So I'm like, wait a second. How long, how many months, how many years have you known each other? What do you think they said?
Couple months?
A year?
2 weeks.
No.
Well, then I could see why she was not
Oh
quite
my
ready.
goodness. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. This guy is a 58 years old. He's not a spring chicken. So
Wow.
what the hell? So I'm like, what's happening here? Who is she? So I'm talking to this woman who is also Romanian, very bright, PhD in economic science, working with a PhD in math in a startup, a fintech startup. So I'm very impressed. And then I tell her about me and what I'm doing and the fact that it's 2023. I'm going to read science around collective meditation and energy and remote healing. And then she said, well, I healed my mom. And I'm like, wow, already I'm very surprised. That's unusual already to say,
Yeah.
but for me to have someone saying this at this very moment feels like it's not a coincidence. Like I feel
Yeah.
okay.
Pay
And the guy,
attention. Yeah.
remember, my friend insisted for me to meet her, and they just met 2 weeks ago, which really is during my intention period, like almost like I always feel like, did I manifest this woman in my life?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so here comes the story. She's telling me that about 10 years back, she was going through a divorce, two young kids at home, writing her PhD, super difficult. So she's asking her mom to come over and help. And her mom says, yes, sure, darling, I'll come. Mom is there, she's taking care of the kids. It's really nice. She can concentrate on doing her thing until the mom is having a bike accident.
Oh,
And then the doctors are saying, well, multi-fracture is going to take 6 to 8 months really for your mom to be back on her feet, literally speaking, because it's going to take time, physio, and all of that. So Anna is going from, her name is Anna, is going from heaven to hell, literally, because she has to take care of her kids again. But now she has her mom to take care of, and she
right.
feels super guilty. And then she, at some point, she says to her mom, she told me, I had read some books about the power of positive visualization, and I thought, I'm gonna try it. Like, she was going through a dark night of the soul. She
Yeah.
said to her mom, Mom, I'm gonna heal you. My mom said, like, sure, darling, go for it. And so after the kids are in bed, she's going next to her mom for 20 minutes, seeing her leg in perfect condition, like putting light and love and angels. And And for 20 minutes, she's just doing this work of repairing every bones, every ligaments, every tissues, everything. And she's doing this over and over for days and days. And it works. She's telling me she got healed a lot faster. It's not as if like it happened
Yeah.
from one to the next, but it really helped. So what was supposed to be for 6 to 8 months took half, like she reduced by half. And their mom felt better. And she became a bit of a legend in her family. She went on and did her PhD and all of that. And she was not a healer, she was in fintech. But at that moment, that is what we all know as a synchronicity, right?
Yeah.
I was ready to receive this message, and this message came to me at the very perfect time where I was open to receive it. And I really felt like someone was tapping on my shoulder saying, "Hey, Roman, you wanted to read science, you can still do it, but here's a shortcut." She's a real person. She's smart. She's ticking all the boxes of the non-woo-woo person. And yet, you know, it's in your heart now. She did what she did. She's not lying. She's not pretending it's true. And I was like, yes, it's true. It's real. It's important. And the next day, I started checking online, okay, energy healing, what it is. Because for me, it was energy healing. I went into a rabbit hole of what is Reiki and how do these people make money and what is the business and how do they find customers and why doesn't the world know? Oh, Mayo Clinic is having Reiki masters. Oh my God, this is huge. And I started like, and I literally after a few months, I thought, all right, no one is taking this seriously enough in the world. I'm gonna make this mainstream. It was insane. I was insanely ambitious, but I kind of knew I'm doing this. And now I'll tell you the next part of the story. Everything now is like so aligned. We're working with the largest foundation in the US. We're the exclusive partners of Phenomena, which is going to be a docu-series released in September around energy healing with people from Harvard, from MD Anderson Cancer Center. I mean, and science is catching up and we're at the forefront of this revolution. But when I've had this moment, I had never done an energy healing session in my life. I was in France. I said, no, it will happen in the US. That's the place. I don't know. It was like literally
It was
I-
epiphany. It was,
Well,
yeah.
and you're
an
following
epiphany.
you're following the flow. You're
I followed the
following the
flow.
flow. I mean, that's
I got a
really
calling.
But I
you.
think there's something about a situation like that where I think many of us have had maybe moments sort of like that where we're just like, oh, that's such a good idea. I know Robin and I've had those moments. But there's also that moment that's like, yeah, but I can't, it's not for me to do. And you, to your point, Robin, what you said, there was an energy that came
Yeah.
through you that propelled you forward. And that is the thing that we don't all always listen to. Because it's a lot. You were going into the land of the unknown. You understood the technology, but not the energy healing, not the energy healers. That was a really new frontier.
So then for you, when it comes to that, when did you have your first energy healing experience? And for those that are still new to the concept, how would you explain generally what's going on?
It's all about understanding that we have our physical body, we have our mental life, we have our physical life, we have our emotional life, and we have this spiritual life, and we have this energetic life. There is this field, and it is a frequency, it is information, and this information is accessible. Like we know this also from psychics, we know this from other fields or other human technologies that you can access information which is so-called non-local, like you access things that are not just nearby. That is by and large not yet scientifically explained. You can think about quantum physics explaining this, all that. But I'm not going to go into things that are not yet really scientifically proven, but I'm going to tell you what I think. What I think is really there is this field of energy around you that carries information. And that information can be accessed by people who are trained for that or who got a gift for it, a knack for it. The same way you could be good at massaging people and not having been trained, you're just good at it. You have something for it. Everyone has different skills. And so that is something that I've experienced myself. Now, I had many, many energy healings. But the one thing that I got the most excited about was remote energy healing. I had both. But I thought, wow, when it's non-local and it's really from far, from a distance, it shifts something else in you. Because yes, it does all the goodness that you have when you're in the same room and next to the healer. But it does this one more thing, which is like, how can it work? What does
Right.
it mean about the world that this can possibly work? And so what I love about this is that it starts seeding into your soul and brain and heart something that tells you there's probably more than the eye can see. And I love that because this is what we need as a society, as a species, is to come to the knowledge of there's so much more to explore, to get attuned to resonate with, and science is catching up on this as well. So this is all very exciting. So that's why I thought I got to do something that is remote by design. We'll do nothing but remote energy healing.
Well, there was something about COVID that gave people that shift in thought. I remember so many of the practitioners we talked to thought that they couldn't do it remotely. They actually said out loud, no, I can't do it remote. And now they're all doing it remotely. So it gave
Oh,
them such an opportunity to extend their offering to people that they may have never been able to connect with them. And that's obviously what you've leaned into with what you're doing now with Luminara. Can you want to talk about that and how it finally came to be and how you approached it?
yes. So thank you. So my biggest discovery was overall, and still today, the market is highly fragmented. So most of the healers, and I know you have a lot of listeners who are healers, they would agree that 80 to 90% of their clients are coming from word of mouth,
Yeah.
literally, which is great. It's as old as the world, right? That's wonderful, but it doesn't scale. You're lucky if you know someone who knows someone, and sometimes you don't want to talk about your issues to someone. You want to keep quiet about it. So many reasons for people not to tell everything to their friends and to look for help. But the 10 remaining percent were either individual websites. No one is going to trust someone just from a website. And then you have a couple of marketplaces. And I looked at them and I thought, oh my God, this is horrendous. The quality, healers are taking their own pictures, they upload their own everything. It's kind of messy. There's no brand coherence. And literally, their business model is such that they want as many people as possible because they just get money from the healers, like a 50 or $100 a month just to be on the platform. So they don't curate anyone. It's more like I have a churn rate. I need to get more people. I thought, oh my God, this is pathetic. We got to do something where trust is at the center of it. And to get trust and integrity, someone has to take the responsibility to curate the healers. Like you don't have all the surgeons in a Mayo Clinic hospitals, you have the ones that they think are the best and brightest. So I thought we got to do a platform which is curated by design. And I didn't know how to do that. So I looked for senior advisors, people specialize in energy healing. So I found this woman, Marie-Laure, who's a pioneer in energy healing in France, who went to the Barbara Brennan School of Light in Florida. She went way then, like Barbara Brennan was still alive and way back. And a psychic, an amazing psychic woman called Natalie, and another woman who's Reiki master. Anyway, so I started talking with them. How do we do that? How do we make sure we have great people? And they all said, well, this is a subtle energy world. It has to be done through subtle energy too. You can't do this with data, with interviews. What is in the subtle realm will be scanned in the subtle way. And
I
so,
love that. That's so true.
and so I'm using psychics to
Yeah.
actually curate every single healer that we get on the platform. And we're pretty tough. So we have probably 1 out of 6 or 7 healers that would be vetted. It's not that they're bad, by the way. We don't say, oh, they're really bad. No, it's maybe because they still have too much ego in the way. They still think this is through them, which is kind of not good because you can taint the client. So we certainly don't want that. It could be that they're really great at doing it in presence, not so confident remotely, and we're doing it remotely. It could be that they don't have a good community spirit. They're more like a lone wolf. And we really are building a thriving community of healers that are happy to be giving a commission to us when we find a client, and we take 15%, which is very decent. Therefore, there's no price difference between the price a healer can do by themselves and with us. So we're not competing. So there are many ways that we kind of check if this is right. Luminara is a pretty cool place to be for a healer. So and they don't have to pay anything. We film them. That's the next step. So we're like a producer, we're like a talent agency. Energy healers are artists in many ways.
You're
You
right.
That's right.
can take up to 6 months to validate a healer, literally.
Wow.
Wow.
Because I'm not rushing. Once you validated someone is good, you want someone who's good at being.
I love that. Could not agree more. I mean, as you know, Karen and I are so careful with who we trust and recommend to others. So we know when we met you and your team, there was such alignment because we take this so seriously. And energy is so easily manipulated. And so when we are looking for those to help facilitate healing in others, we do it with the utmost care because we are so protective of everybody that comes in our field, right? Including
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah,
So,
these are very, as we started, so many people are in very precious moments in their lives. They're at crossroads, they're going through grief, they have issues with their own bodies and illnesses.
Yes. And this is the moment I have
yeah,
something to tell you.
Please.
we're excited.
I was in San Francisco 3 weeks ago for 12 days, so quite a long time. And something amazing happened. And I'm going to tell you, it's exactly what you're saying right now, Karen and Robin. So, because yes, first of all, science is making progress. And we've talked a little bit about our friends, the foundations, the Subtle Energy Founders Foundations, Emerald Gate Foundation. There are people right now in the US who are extremely serious about helping science move forward on these modalities and showing to the world that this is effective. And there was recently a very, very big milestone, a study done with the MD Anderson Cancer Center that was Professor Lorenzo Cohen.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I really would love everyone listening to take a deeper look at this because it's huge. They basically wanted to take the placebo effect out of the picture. So they've done energy healing on mice and just cells in petri dishes. And these cells were healthy cells with pancreatic cancerous cells, like the deadliest. And they put healers in front of these cells or these mice, and the results are amazing. They managed to slow down the growth of metastatic cells by more than 50%. Like
Oh
literally,
my,
you see a massive reduction of the
wow.
growth of the metastasis. It's
Wow.
it's true. This is documented. This is MD Anderson cancer. Like that's it. Now, when you think about that, you think, all right, it's not gonna be a matter of if it works. It's a matter of who should I see? Where do I do this energy healing thing? Because it works. Like I know now. So here comes the story. When I was in San Francisco, well, I did this mushroom ceremony, which was amazing. And it was a rebirth. It was my first time ever. Very powerful. And the next day, the one thing I've learned is life is full of signs. And I kind of knew that. The next day, I'm going downstairs to pick up my coffee at Starbucks. And I see this sign on the street saying, grand opening, Reiki healings, tarot readings, da, da, da. That's me reading this on the street.
Right.
Okay, I gotta go there. Like I just knew this is a sign. So I'm going there and the lady's busy and I have to go to lunch to see a friend. So I'm like, okay, but are you open in the afternoon? Say, yeah, I'll be open. Fine. Go back in the afternoon. It's closed. So I called. She said, okay, I can be there in 40 minutes. Okay, she's coming back. I'm going into this small room with her, and I had this feeling I'm going to record the whole thing. So I discreetly put my phone and record the whole thing. And I'm curious. I'm like, I feel a calling. I have to do this. I don't know really why. $25. I just took cash. I knew I had to pay by cash for sure. So I had $40. And then she starts saying, okay, so tell me something positive about yourself, something about negative. And I start talking. And the more I talk, the more she said, you have a beautiful aura. You're really a beautiful person. But you have negative energy right now that's blocking you from having the best life you can. And well, I can help you, I'm sure you need to feel better. And you just told me she's just using what I've just said, but I can feel she wanted help. But anyway, at some point she says, open the door. So I'm next to the door. I open the door. She said, look at the bottom. And I see this price list at the door that I didn't really pay attention to. And at the very bottom, I see chakra cleansing, $275.
No way. Ugh.
Yeah. She said,
Gross.
close the door. I close the door, and then she adds, I can add crystals for $200 more.
Oh no.
And I know the prices. This is just crazy.
No.
And I'm
That makes
like,
me, ugh.
okay. And then she says, okay, so do you want to get better?
Oh,
I mean,
And
that's the example that we would
exactly. And so
follow. Not
what's
right.
beautiful, and I told her, no, I'm leaving. I'm not from here. Oh, you're not from here. Okay. At the end, she said, okay, it's $25. I give her the 40. She says, I don't have change. I knew that. So I'm like, okay,
Oh,
it's for you. I got out of it and I'm like, okay, divine universe, I get it. Thank you so much for
yes,
this message.
yes.
And then, okay, one more thing I've done is because I had recorded everything, I put all of the transcript into Claude to get a feeling of what did she say? And Claude is saying, oh my God, of course, she used every single manipulation tools to make you feel up and then down and then becoming the savior and making you open something with everything. And so the moment I experienced it, it was in my guts, like I felt it and I knew it. I said, thank you. This is a reminder when right now in this planet, science is catching up. It's going to soon be a lot more people than we have today that will want to experience this because they will know it works, except that it works with integrity, with professional,
Yeah,
competent, decent people that will not exploit you. But as we know, when there was a gold rush, guess what? There were a lot of snake oil sellers
that's
and
right.
they got a lot of fake gold and all. So whenever you have a market opening up, it is even more important to have leaders doing it right. And so my calling, again, through this experience again, is now even clearer than before. We're going to be the leading platform, not because of my ego, but because the world needs it. Like,
Yes.
because we're coming to a tipping point, we need a place that is safe for everyone, protecting people from this.
can you just describe what Luminara is for someone who has no idea what it is and how it works and how it could be helpful to someone?
Sure. It's go to Luminara, click on Find a Healer, follow the steps. There is a questionnaire. We want to know a bit what you're looking for, and then we'll match you with AI with three healers that really should be great for you. You make the last step. You look at these videos, and if none of these three resonates with you, you can ask for a new round. But we're pretty confident one of the three will be amazing for you. And then you can look at their availabilities and then you can book them and then you'll get the booking in your calendar. On average, it's about $130 up to 200 plus. You could have a $10 discovery call, 20 minutes, so it's a good amount of time. And we give you the $10 back if you book a session within 7 days. Yeah,
Nice.
that's how it works. By the end of the month, we'll have also a page right from the website where you'll have all the profiles of the healers. And you can also do it this way. You'll go either AI with AI matching, or you just do your own choice and you'll have different criterias that you can select. Okay, I want a man or I want a woman. I only have time in the afternoons. I want someone who speaks Spanish maybe or whatever. Oh, and yes, I want someone for anxiety and you can filter through that.
I love that. And I think what you've also done, the whole experience is through Luminara. So from the actual session itself and all of
Correct.
that. Is it recorded? Okay.
No, it's not recorded. We are HIPAA compliant, so we wanted to have the highest standard in the medical industry, although we're not medical per se. We have a beautiful experience, as you've just said, Robin. And also, we partner with science. Like we run a study today with the Florida State University through the platform. People can enroll or not. There's nothing compulsory. So they can help science as well when they book a session on Luminara.
Tell us about that study. What is the study that you're doing?
The study is really about looking at how efficient are energy healing sessions remotely with a lot of sessions. Like usually when you do a study, you'll enroll maybe 10, 15, 20 people at max. Sometimes you go to 50. Now we're reaching 200 because it's remote, because it's actually real people that really book sessions that can maybe enroll. I mean, we have a lot more than 200 sessions that have been done, but this is a number of people that enrolled. And so it's a way to measure pre and post data. So one example is, okay, how much pain do you feel right now from 0 to 10? And then we ask the question again, how much pain do you feel right now? Maybe no
Mm.
difference, maybe some different. So there are a lot of questions. And there is one last questionnaire that has to be given a month after the session. That's an important one. So we're doing this and we'll publish a study by probably end of the year.
That's really exciting.
I
Yes.
can tell you already that it's clearly we have some data showing that it's really effective. Like it's 95% of our clients see a transformative, healing, or life-changing experience.
Can you talk about just a few examples or stories from either yourself or any of the clients that you know that have experienced energy healing?
I mean, there are so many. What's amazing to me is it can work at the physical level. Like I had a sciatica, it was gone with one energy healing session. My
Wow.
wife had a back pain, like chronic back pain, gone after one energy healing session. So it can cure very physical stuff as well as reducing your anxiety. It can work on depression, trauma. It can help going through really like your past.
Yeah.
As one of my energy healing advisor saying, I've seen it all. Like energy healing can do so much. It's almost like we haven't yet explored everything that energy healing can do for us. Fertility is one also that can work wonderfully. Really, it's amazing. It's a matter of just trying, willingness, not
Yes.
belief.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when you have a place that you know can be trusted, it's worth trying and seeing
Yeah, after you've tried everything else, and that's something
exactly.
that Robin and I've heard so often too. And that's what happens, unfortunately, to a lot of people. They have tried all of the traditional ways of curing their illness or feeling better, and none of them are working. And because we know how much that whole mind, body, spirit, the spirit part of the connection is the one that everybody forgets about, right? You know, we talk a lot about our minds and a lot about our bodies these days, but that spirit is the thread that is so often missing. And if these modalities can help us identify that, then that's the unlocking for a lot of our physical and mental issues. And it can just be, like you said, one simple session to at least get on the journey to finding out more.
Yeah.
One question I'd love to ask you, Roman, is if you could go back in time to that Roman who just lost Raphael, what would you tell your grieving self?
Wow. I would say, if I really go back already, it goes back to some sadness here. But I would say nothing is as absurd as it looks. Look at the signs, the learning. Look at what you're learning. Look at the beauty. Even in the toughest moments, I could see beauty. During the funeral, as I said, the beauty of silence, of just people around that just love and care around me. Even in the darkest moments, beauty has never left, love has never left. So I would say this to myself, say, it's tough, it's absurd. You feel that, it's so dark in there, but light is not far. There is always as much light as there is as much darkness. So
I love us being able to share your story because I feel so many people get to that moment in life sometimes where they just can't see the light and they just can't see how they can get to it. And stories like you remind us all that you can be at the most dark place in your entire life, and yet there can be a journey ahead that will not only bring you to the light, but will offer others light as well. And that is what you have done. And
Yeah,
I know
thank you
your
so much.
son's
That's so
so
beautifully
proud of
said.
that. Well, but it is really true. And I think it's so important to be able to see the meaning in life's most devastating moments and know that there are such opportunities to bring light and healing to the world if we're listening.
And Karen, energy healers are also called light workers.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Well, and doesn't Luminara mean light?
Exactly. You got it.
Right? And so, what is your wish for Luminara and integrating energy healing into the mainstream, even healthcare system?
Absolutely. We're going to go for companies as well, B2B, for corporates to enjoy at scale a healthier population of employees, like having top executive that get coached and get some pretty good healers as well. And that's kind of their best kept secret for many of them. Now, I believe that they could create a way for all of their employees, or at least the C levels to start with, and then all of their employees to enjoy that. And so that's why, and that's the first time I'm saying this in a show, that we're going to create an ESA, energy saving account, similar to the HSA, health saving account, and the FSA, flexible spending account. So the idea is to get this account for energy healing so that companies can put some money for each of their employees for them to, after a while, being able to afford a really good qualitative energy healing.
Well, that is needed. There is no doubt.
It is. And if the workforce can partner with you, it says something about the company and that they care about that spirit part of their employees. And I'm sure most employees would say nowadays that's the most needed, spiritual as well as mental and physical care.
People are
Yeah.
getting freaked out by AI.
Yeah.
And if companies don't do something about it, it's gonna get really bad. So, and that's coming to a spiritual level. Like, who am I if I'm losing my job? What am I doing if I'm replaced by an AI? And I was talking to one of our investors who happened to work at Meta, and it's now a race in Meta, for example, where you have to show that you're using AI better than the next guy and
Wow.
better. So literally, we're transforming ourselves into AI machines. Like even we're even more machines. So at some point, we're losing our humanity. So really, having energy healers reminding us like we're profoundly human, we're profoundly loved, that what you do is not who you are. It's a part of who you are, but it's not who you are. You're more than just the sum of what you're doing. And the spiritual and energetic body that you have is something. So anyway, yeah, I'm a very strong believer that we're coming at a point in our story as a human species where it couldn't be a better time, honestly. And energy healing is by design AI proof. We're not
Right.
going to have an AI doing what energy healers are
That
doing.
is, we talk about that all the time.
People
Right.
can make a living not using AI, but utilizing their own.
Magical parts of
It's gonna be
themselves.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
agree.
Right.
Oh,
This has been
Roman,
such
thank you
a great
so
conversation.
much for following the breadcrumbs, following the signs, for creating light out of darkness. All of it. We're so grateful, and we're grateful to be connected. We're grateful to share everything you're doing and be a part of collaborating in the future. We know we have not met on accident.
No, Robin and I talk all the time about the connecting of the dots. And I think that's part of our role in this lifetime, all of us, is that we're trying to connect the dots so that people who need to heal can find people to help guide them there. So,
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
thank you
Let's heal each
so.
other. Let's heal each
Yes,
other.
yes, yes. So for everybody listening or watching, please go visit luminara.care to learn more and try it for yourself. We'll have the link in our show notes, and we look forward to growing and evolving together.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so, so much, Robin and Karen. It was such a beautiful moment. Thank you so much.